The church was packed. The air was thick with joy and perfume. The bride walked in gracefully, glowing, but in her hands was something no one expected, a calabash. Yes, a calabash. She didn't smile. She didn't look at her groom. She walked straight to the altar and placed it there like an offering. The choir stopped singing. The pastor froze. Her groom stepped back. Murmurs spread like wildfire across the congregation, and then she spoke, her voice cold and sure. This is my tradition, but the elders in the front row, they stood up slowly, their faces pale. One of them whispered, "This isn't just tradition, it is a warning." What was in that calabash? Why did even the pastor hesitate to touch it? And what secret was about to destroy this wedding before it even began? It was the wedding of the year in Amugu village. Mmesoma, the beautiful daughter of Chief Ikenna, was finally getting married to Chijioke, the quiet, wealthy young man who had returned from abroad just a year ago. The entire village gathered in the church. Guests wore their best attires and music filled the air. People whispered how lucky Chijioke was to marry such a graceful, intelligent woman. But no one knew Mmesoma had spent the entire night crying. That morning, she had received a mysterious package from her grandmother's house. A wrapped calabash with a red string, along with a handwritten note. Take this to the altar. Place it before God and man. Let the truth guide your steps. She stared at it for hours, confused, shaking, but her grandmother had died 3 years ago. Who sent this? Still, something deep inside her urged her to obey. When the moment came, Mmesoma walked down the aisle, not with a bucket, but holding the calabash wrapped in white cloth. People clapped until they saw what she carried. Then the claps turned into gasps. Her groom, Chijioke, tried to smile until she walked past him. Straight to the altar, she unwrapped the calabash, placed it before the cross, and whispered, "Let the ancestors and heaven bear me witness." The pastor blinked, confused. What? What is this? "It's my tradition," she said calmly, "but only the elders will understand." And just like that, three elders from the front row stood up, trembling. One leaned on his staff and said, this is not just tradition. This is a summoning." Everyone froze. Even the groom began to sweat. Something spiritual had just entered the room, and the wedding was no longer about love. It was about truth, revenge, and something long buried. The church was silent. You could hear the ceiling fan spinning. Even the babies stopped crying. Chijioke looked at Mmesoma in confusion, his lips trembling. "Mmesoma, what is going on?" She didn't reply. Her eyes were fixed on the calabash, now glowing faintly under the altar light. The elders came forward, slowly, fearfully. One of them, Elder Nana, leaned down to inspect it, and as soon as his hand hovered about the calabash, he screamed and stepped back. "It has blood memory," he shouted. This calabash was sealed with the tears of a betrayed bride many years ago. Gasp filled the church. Women held their chests. The choir mistress fainted. Mmesoma finally turned to the audience. Her voice was calm, but her words thundered like judgment. 20 years ago, my mother was set to marry a man from this same village, but on her wedding day, he left her at the altar for her best friend. My mother ran out of the church and was never seen again, not until 3 days later, when her body was found near the river, holding this same calabash. Chijioke staggered backward. What does that have to do with me? Everything, she shouted. That man was your father. Everyone screamed. Chijioke's knees buckled. No! 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 Mesoma wiped her tears and continued. My family kept quiet. They didn't want war. They buried the truth. But the day I accepted your proposal, this calabash reappeared in our family shrine. My grandmother said, if I ever wanted peace in marriage, I must return it to the altar where the betrayal started. The pastor stammered, but this is a house of God. Yes, she shouted. That's why I brought it here to stop this cycle of betrayal and curses. Today, we end it. Suddenly, the calabash cracked open with a loud pop, and a cold breeze swept through the church. Inside the calabash was a folded wedding veil, soaked in dried blood, and a torn photo of Chijioke's father and Mesoma's mother. Everyone knew the bloodline curse was revealed. Chijioke broke down in tears. I never knew. My father never told me anything. My God. One of the elders fell to his knees and wept. We watched it happen. We let your mother suffer. We let your family carry shame alone. Forgive us. Mesoma's hand shook. I didn't come to destroy this wedding. I came to free my mother's soul. The sky outside darkened. Thunder rumbled. The pastor knelt before the altar and began to pray. Lord, let your mercy speak. Let your spirit cleanse this altar. Suddenly, the calabash burst into flames and turned to ash on the altar. A calm fell on the room. People began to weep, not in fear, but in relief. A burden had been lifted, but the question still remained, will this wedding continue? The smoke cleared from the altar. The ashes of the calabash were blown away by a mysterious wind that swept gently through the church windows. A strange peace filled the room. Mesoma turned and faced Chijioke. Now you know the truth. The question is, do we still go on with this marriage? Tears streamed down Chijioke's face. He stepped forward slowly. I was ignorant of my father's sins, but today you feed your mother's soul, and unknowingly you also freed mine. He knelt before her, not as a groom, but as a man seeking forgiveness. If you still choose me, I will spend the rest of my life honoring your courage. But if you walk away, I will still be grateful for this truth. The church held its breath, and then Mesoma looked up at the cross. I chose healing over hatred. She said, let's start again, not on lies, but on truth. The crowd burst into tears and applause. The pastor stepped forward, placed his hands on their heads, and prayed. Let what started with blood end in blessing. May your union be the one that breaks every chain in your families. That day, two souls were joined, not just in love, but in restoration. Moral lessons. Never cover generational sins. What's hidden in shame will always resurface until truth is faced. Tradition without understanding can become bondage, but when tradition meets truth, healing comes. 3. The past must be acknowledged for the future to be free. 4. Love is not blind. Love sees, forgives, and chooses healing. 5. No altar should carry curses, only truth and mercy. My dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, made you cry, or made you think deeply, please don't just scroll away. I poured my soul into this story to remind someone out there that truth brings freedom and no curse is greater than God's mercy. Please subscribe to this channel. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I love reading from you. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss the next powerful story. Stay connected, stay blessed, and remember, truth will always speak, even when silence screams. See you in the next story. God bless you.